The palace was tall, but his sleep was small. Gold on the walls, but silence in the hall. Crowds knew his smile, bright, royal, wide, but none saw the storms he carried inside. Fazza stood where the lights always shine, yet felt like a shadow behind his own line. Voices cheered when he passed through the day, but his own heart had nothing to say. He owned the desert, the horses, the sky, but couldn't command one tear not to cry. The night knew truths the daylight hid, secrets he buried since he was a kid. His crown was heavy, not made of gold, but of promises kept and feelings untold. Duty sat firm on his noble chest, while peace packed bags and left his rest. He rode through dunes where the sunsets bled, orange like words he wished he had said. Wind touched his face like a soft old friend, asking, "How long will this pretending extend?" The falcon flew free from his guarded hand, a symbol of freedom he couldn't command. It cut through the air with fearless grace, while cages of silence locked his space. Every cheer from the crowd below echoed louder than they would know, because after the noise would fade away, he met his quiet at the end of day. His room was wide, the windows tall, yet loneliness painted the largest wall. Mirrors reflected a leader, strong, but not the boy who had been hurt too long. He remembered a time, small and bright, when laughter came easy, sleep came at night, before the titles, the weight, the name, before love became a dangerous game. He loved once deep, with a fearless heart, never imagining love could tear apart. He gave his trust like desert gives rain, rare and pure, returned with pain. Her voice still lived in corners of air. In silent moments, she was there, not in body, not in sight, but in memories that refused to lose fight. He tried to bury her under success, under duties, speeches, royal dress, but grief has roots that grow in stone, and bloom when a man is most alone. He smiled for cameras, waved his hand, stood like a mountain, proud and grand, but mountains too have cracks inside, where broken rivers try to hide. His friends saw strength, his people saw pride, but sorrow walked faithfully by his side. Not loud, not wild, not easy to see, just a quiet thief of what he used to be. He would sit by the sea when the night was deep, where even the city would fall asleep, listening to waves that came and went, like all the love his life had spent. "Why?" he asked the darkened tide. "Does a full world feel empty inside? Why does a heart that has it all still feel like it's in a silent fall?" The stars above gave distant light, witness to his wordless fight. They glittered cold, too far to hear, the breaking sound of a royal tear. He pressed his palm against his chest, as if to calm a bird with no nest. His heartbeat raced like it feared the truth, that pain had outlived his youth. Letters he wrote but never sent stayed folded with their feelings bent. Ink carried love, regret, and plea, but courage drowned in dignity. A prince in title, a child in ache, learning how much one heart can break, learning that strength is sometimes a lie men are taught so they don't cry. The moon once asked through silver light, "Why do you fight your tears each night?" He whispered back, voice low, unsure, "Because my breaking must be secure. Secure from eyes that look for hope, secure from hands that help him cope. For how can a pillar admit it shakes, or a leader confess the fear he wakes?" So he wore calm like royal art, while chaos ruled his private heart. Each breath a duty, each step a role, while loneliness slowly swallowed his soul. The gardens bloomed in perfect rows, but he walked past like he didn't know. Flowers bent gently toward the sun, while he felt his own light come undone. Birds built nests with fragile thread, braver than thoughts inside his head, because they dared to start again while he replayed the same old pain. Servants bowed, the world showed grace, yet grief still knew his hidden place, sat beside him when feasts were spread, and tasted sorrow in his bread. Music played in the royal night, strings and drums in golden light, but every note would twist and fall into echoes of a love-shaped whole. He looked at hands that ruled the land, strong enough to command, to stand, yet helpless when it came to mend a heart no power could defend. His peace had left without goodbye, like birds that vanish from the sky, leaving branches bare and still, a silent forest on a hill. Fazza, the wind once softly called. Why is your spirit always stalled? He closed his eyes, let silence speak, a warrior strong, but a soul so weak. He wasn't weak in sword or mind, but in the places love can find, in the tender rooms behind the chest where even kings are just a guest. He gave his strength to everyone else, but left no mercy for himself, as if his pain was something due, a debt his heart must carry through. Nights grew longer, sleep grew thin, thoughts grew loud beneath his skin. Regret knocked hard on memory's door, asking for what if ever more. He wondered if peace was just a tale, a fragile ship with a missing sail, or a dream reserved for common men, not those who must rise again and again. Still, every dawn he rose on time, dressed his wounds in cloth so fine, stepped outside with steady pace, and wore the sun upon his face. But somewhere deep where titles cease, lived the echo of his lost peace, calling softly, far, and slow. From a place he feared to go, he walked through mornings made of gold, but felt like winter in his soul. Sunlight touched his royal face, yet couldn't reach his quiet place. Advisors spoke of plans and gain, of power, honor, land, and reign. He nodded calm, composed, aware, while drowning in a private prayer. Let today pass without the ache. Let memory give my heart a break. Let 1 hour come without her name burning softly like hidden flame. But memory is a desert wind. It finds the cracks beneath the skin. It slips through armor, silk, and pride, and sits where broken dreams reside. He saw her once in a dream at dawn, standing where the light is born, not crying, not in pain or plea, just looking back, not meant to be. He reached, but distance grew like fear, a silent truth becoming clear. Some loves are not for hands to hold, but wounds the heart must learn to fold. He woke with breath that felt too tight, as if he'd run through all the night. His room was still, the curtains wide, but emptiness stood by his side. The world knocked loud upon his door. A prince can't lie on grief's cold floor. So he stood up, fixed his crown, and locked the falling pieces down. In meetings, halls, and public gaze, he moved through people like a haze, every word correct and wise, while oceans stormed behind his eyes. Children waved with shining trust, believing strength is never dust. He smiled and blessed them one by one, hiding battles never won. An old man once held his hand tight and said, "You give our days their light." Fazza paused. His chest grew sore, because he felt like light no more. At night he rode where no one came, no guards, no title, rank, or name, just him and wind across the sand. The desert, the only one who'd understand. Why does space feel more like home than marble halls in which I roam? Why does silence treat me kind while crowds leave heavier thoughts behind? The dunes replied with shifting sighs, like ancient truths in old disguise. You carry worlds upon your back, but left your own heart off the track. His horse slowed down as if it knew the weight of thoughts he wandered through. Even the stars seemed hanging low to watch a royal spirit bow. He thought of tears he never let fall, of nights he stared at the ceiling wall, of words like fine he'd often say while breaking more and more each day. Strength, they taught him, means endure, means stand unmoved, remain secure, but no one taught him how to heal the wounds a silent heart can feel. He envied men with nothing grand, who laughed with dust upon their hand, who slept at night without disguise, no throne between their hearts and skies. His peace had not been loud or bright. It left like fading evening light, slow, unnoticed, day by day, until his joy had slipped away. He searched for it in prayerful air, in whispered hope, in bowed down care, but even faith felt far and thin, like knocking on a door within. One night the rain surprised the land, rare tears upon the desert sand. He stood beneath the falling sky and let the storm ask him why. Drops ran cold across his face, blending with grief he couldn't place. For once the sky cried loud and free, the way he wished his heart could be. Lightning split the dark in two, like truth that suddenly breaks through, showing shadows, sharp and fast, of all the love he'd lost to past. He didn't run, he didn't hide. He let the thunder shake his pride. Let nature see what men could not, a prince whose peace was long forgot. His breath came heavy, not from fear, but from the weight he held each year, years of being strong for all, while hearing his own spirit fall. Is there a place, he asked the rain, where titles do not measure pain? Where hearts are not required to lead, just allowed to break and bleed? The storm moved on, the sky grew still, but left behind a quiet chill. And in that hush, so soft, so deep, he felt his buried sorrow weep. Not loud, not wild, not tearing through, but gentle, honest, finally true. A single tear, then one more fell, breaking the royal silent shell. He didn't shatter, didn't drown, the world did not collapse around. Just one small truth, long overdue. Even the strong are human too. The desert air felt strangely light, as if it knew he'd fought his fight, not with sword or grand display, but by letting pain have space to stay. Peace did not return that night, no sudden warmth, no shining light, but something softer took its place, a fragile, unfamiliar grace. The grace of not pretending whole, of letting cracks exist in soul, of knowing wounds don't make him less, just proof of love and tenderness. He turned his horse toward distant flame of palace lights and royal name. Still a prince, still strong, still tall, but now more honest through it all. And somewhere deep where sorrow sleeps, a quiet shift began in deeps. Not healing yet, not fully found, but roots of truth beneath the ground. His lost peace had not returned, but for the first time, something burned not as pain that scars the heart, but as a wish to gently start. Morning arrived without demand. No trumpet call across the land, just pale light spilling soft and slow, like hope unsure if it should show. Fazza woke before the sun, not from fear, not forced to run, but from a quiet, gentle air that felt less heavy sitting there. The ceiling didn't press so near, the room did not echo with fear. Pain was present, yes, still near, but no longer the only thing he could hear. He sat upright, no mask, no role, just breath moving through a tired soul. And for the first time in many years, he didn't fight the leftover tears. They came not like a raging sea, but like a child returning to knee, small, honest drops that did not shout, just truths he was done pushing out. I am tired, he whispered low, a sentence few would let him show. Not tired of duty, crown, or place, just tired of hiding his human face. The words did not break the sky. No thunder roared, no eagle's cry. The world did not collapse in shame, but inside, something gently came. Relief, so soft it almost hid, like warmth remembered from when a kid fell asleep without defense, without the armor of pretense. He walked outside before the day could fully take the night away. Dew still clung to leaves and stone, proof the dark had not ruled alone. A gardener bowed, then froze midway, seeing the prince in simple gray, no royal coat, no guarded pace, just quiet written on his face. Your Highness? The old man said, unsure. Fazza smiled softer, less secure. Walk with me, he said instead, and side by side, through green they tread. No grand talk of state or land, just soil between the gardener's hand. How do you know? Fazza asked slow. When it's time to let plants grow. The old man laughed, lines deep and kind. You cannot force what heals the rind. You water, wait, remove the stone, but roots decide the rest alone. Fazza felt the words sink deep into places pain would sleep. Healing was not a sword to raise, but patient care across the days. They stopped beside a wounded tree, split by storm years back, maybe 3, yet leaves still reached toward the sky, not asking branches why they die. We thought it lost, the gardener said. Half its heart seemed cold and dead, but life will push through smallest seam, if given time and space and dream. Fazza touched the scarred, rough bark, felt something answer in the dark. His chest, too, bore a hidden split, but maybe life still lived in it. That day he listened more than spoke, not every word a polished cloak. He let silence sit between, and found it softer than it had been. He wrote a letter, short, not grand, no royal seal, no heavy hand, just, I am learning how to be a man who lets his heart be free. He didn't send it, not yet time, but writing it felt like a climb out of a well he'd long been in, toward air that touched his skin. He still led meetings, still stood tall, still answered every duty's call, but now between each breath and roll he checked the weather of his soul. When sorrow came, he did not flee, he gave it chair and let it be, not as king upon a throne, but as a guest not left alone. Grief, once sharp like shattered glass, now felt like rain on window pass, still there, still real, still sometimes loud, but not the ruler of his cloud. One evening by the sea again, he sat where waves erase all men, but this time he did not demand that pain release his heart or hand. He simply watched the silver tide, let memory sit by his side, not as a ghost that claws the air, but as a love that once was there. Thank you, he whispered to the foam, for teaching me I'm not just stone, for showing me a heart can break and still have room for dawn to wake. The stars above did not seem cold, they looked like stories yet untold, and for the first time, looking high did not feel like a goodbye. Peace had not returned the same, it did not wear its former name, it came not loud, nor bright, nor fast, but as a moment that could last. A breath without the weight of war, a step not chained to what before, a night where sleep might softly start, without a guard around his heart. Fazza rose, the waves behind, no longer chased by his own mind, still healing, still with scars in place, but walking now with quieter grace. The palace lights no longer burned like prisons he had once discerned. They looked like windows, warm and wide, where even wounded hearts could reside. His peace was lost, that much was true, but something new was breaking through, not the past restored or undone, but strength that comes from not having one. And deep within, where silence grows, where only the honest spirit goes, a gentle truth began to start. He did not need a perfect heart.